Hi, today I'm showing you an easy to follow tiramisu recipe. The ingredients that you will need is you should take some hot boiling water, take the chocolate, put it in a bowl in little chunks and put it above a boiling hot water pot and let that simmer or melt rather while you prepare the rest of the ingredients. So here you can see I've broken the chocolate bar into small pieces. I've got a bowl of boiling water. I've got this glass bowl here. I'm going to carefully put that on top of the hot water, and while I prepare the rest of my ingredients for the tiramisu recipe, I'm going to let this just gently melt away. And like I said, a lot of people stick it in the microwave in a plastic container, and that is not the right thing to do because you will find that the chocolate burns. So let's let this melt while we prepare the rest of the ingredients. And that was just 70% cocoa dark chocolate. Now the next thing to do is to add 50 grams of butter to the melted or melting chocolate, and to measure this I've pretty much just marked that's half and that's approximately 50. So I'm going to cut that and then add it into the bowl. So I've added the 50 grams of butter over the melting chocolate. I'm going to add a pinch of salt. Now normally I like to use sea salt, but since I don't have that today, I'm just going to add a pinch of normal regular salt. I'm going to just take a wooden spatula and give it a little mix. This is melting really nicely. Now had you put this in the microwave, it would have been a complete disaster. The chocolate would have burned and the plastic bowl probably would have melted. So yeah, this is melting really nicely. We're just going to leave this and let it melt away while we continue with the rest of the prep. Here the chocolate is melting away nicely. It's a bit steamy so you can't see it, but this is looking delicious and this is going to taste amazing. So it's just chocolate and butter and a pinch of salt. So look at that, beautiful. So in a couple of minutes this is going to be even more smooth. I'm just going to continue to let this melt away and mix together. So this is looking perfect. Let that melt. So the next step is to make a mug of coffee. So I'm just going to use 2 sachets of normal Kenko coffee, which basically means a tablespoon of coffee. Put it into a mug, just a tablespoon of regular coffee. Put a teaspoon of sugar. You can add a little bit more. And let's add hot water. So this is the mix which we are going to pour. So a mug of coffee, which is about 400 ml, over the sponge fingers, which we're going to line up in our dish in a minute. So the next step is to take your packet of sponge fingers, which we're going to use about 2 packets. I have bought these from Tesco. You get them in Sainsbury's or Asda, so they're about £2 for a pack. So take your sponge fingers, take your oven proof dish, and simply, let's get rid of the water in there because I've just rinsed it, simply line up your sponge fingers. Neatly do that, and once you have all the sponge fingers lined up, we're going to pour the mug of coffee over the sponge fingers to let them soak completely into the coffee, and that will be the base of our tiramisu dessert. Now the reason I've lined up all the sponge fingers, now you don't have to be you know, too neat and tidy about this. I've just broken them up and, you know, just put them on the base of the dish. So, you know, it's the base. It doesn't have to be neat and tidy. You know, some people align them perfectly. But yeah, this is ready for me to pour the coffee on top now. So I'm simply going to take my mug of coffee, which you saw me prepare earlier, and grab it and literally pour it over the sponge fingers. I am now going to take my melted chocolate and drizzle that all over the sponge fingers. So here's the melted chocolate. it's obviously going to be very sticky, but just carefully pour this over the sponge fingers. Now I wanted to show you that this part of the dessert is not very neat, and it's also not very easy, because without any liquids such as wine, which is traditionally used, because we've omitted that, it's quite difficult to, you can see that the consistency is thick. So don't worry about it, it's absolutely fine if this part is very messy, as long as you manage to spread the chocolate everywhere. Remember, this is the base and it will get covered in another couple of layers of things, so don't worry about it. Just take your chocolate, and just as long as you can cover all the chocolate fingers. So I'm gonna show you once I've managed to spread the chocolate fairly evenly around the dish. So before moving on to the next step, I wanted to show you that this is how the base of this dessert will look. Now, it's not the prettiest, but it is the base and it will get covered in several other layers. So far we have, take 2 glass bowls, or they can be plastic bowls, it's fine. We've got 5 medium eggs. I want you to put the egg whites in here and the egg yolk in here. To do that, it's slightly messy, do not panic. Simply crack an egg open, try and hold it steady, let the egg white slip through, and just be very patient. Just keep transferring the yolk from one shell to the other, and here we are, we've got the yolk here. I'm going to repeat this, I'll show it to you one more time. So crack the egg, hold it straight up, let the egg yolk fall into the bowl, then transfer the egg yolk from half the shelf to the other half, and put the yolk in the other bowl. Now do that to all the eggs, and then we're going to whisk both, add the sugar, and that will be the next layer. So the next step is to take bowl number 1, which has the 5 egg yolks, take 100 grams of sugar and whisk the 2 together. Do this for about 5 minutes until it looks nice and smooth and creamy. Once that's done, add the zest of 1 orange. So I'm simply going to take our electric blender and blend this for 5 minutes on a high setting. So here I'm whisking the egg yolk with the sugar. So the next step is to take your mascarpone full fat cheese, 750 grams, and add that into your egg yolk, which has been blended with an electric mixer for about 5 minutes with the sugar to allow it to become fluffy and creamy and get a lovely texture. I'm also going to add the zest of that 1 orange, and I'm going to blend that all together. I'm going to take my electric blender and blend that away. Now this gets a little bit messy sometimes, do not panic. Start off with a slow setting so that it doesn't fly everywhere. So now that the egg yolk is ready, the egg yolk mixed with the mascarpone, wash your electric whiz really quickly, dry it, add a pinch of salt, just a pinch of salt to the egg whites, and do the same thing. Blend this with your electric blender until the egg whites become a stiff foamy material, almost like a bowl of snow. So the egg whites have now become foam, and the test is that it should have a nice stiff foam like consistency. We're going to now mix the egg whites into the mascarpone and egg yolk mix that we have here, which has orange zest in it. So we're going to mix these two together gently, spoon by spoon, fold it together. Look at that texture. So put this carefully into the other bowl and fold. Be patient. Now gently fold. Do this until all your egg yolk mix. It can be messy, it's fine. It's all getting mixed in the end anyway. So look at this lovely foam texture. Simply, it's just egg whites. Mix this away. Carefully, it's very, very relaxing to actually do this. And in the end, you'll have a really lovely smooth mixture, which will be absolutely yummy to taste as well. So if you exercise some patience and really gently fold the egg whites into the egg yolk mascarpone mix, in the end you will have a very fluffy and light creamy mixture like this. This is now the top layer of your tiramisu dessert. The good thing about making desserts at home is that you can add less sweeteners, less sugars. You can replace the sugar with a bit of sweetener, and that way you can have a healthier option. You can add less butter into the chocolate, as I did. I only added 50 mg. So at the end you have something like this. We are now going to take our base, which is the sponge fingers covered in coffee, covered in chocolate, and put this over this, and in the end it will look like a lovely tiramisu dessert. So I'm gonna start spoonful by spoonful. I'm gonna start placing the mixture over the sponge fingers. It doesn't have to be neat and tidy. At the end of the day, you're going to spread it out at the top, even it all out. So it's absolutely fine if it doesn't look too beautiful to begin with, because at the end you can decorate it as you wish. So what I tend to do is I just add equal amounts of spoonfuls, if you like, on the top, just like this, and then at the end I just take, you know, a large spatula and spread it all out. So I'm doing this, and the good thing is that it actually, the mix, this mix here, the egg yolk white and the mascarpone mix will soak into the, so I've spread the mixture over the base, and this is what the final product will look like. I'm of course going to be a little bit extra and go and decorate it. After all, it is my sister's birthday tomorrow, my older sister's birthday, so I'm going to make this for her, decorate it for her, as I obviously love her to bits, and I will show you what decoration I've put. But this is the final product, so you can here see, you can see the coffee, the sponge, the chocolate, and the top layer, and it's ready to indulge. So I'm going to decorate it with some zest, some chocolate, grated chocolate, some of these crispies. So I'm going to write a happy birthday message on the tiramisu. I've marked out where I want to add the text, which is just happy birthday Nisa. I've then got this, which I've bought from Tesco. I've practiced on a plate how I want the text to appear, and I'm now going to draw on the tiramisu just where I put the So here's the final product. The tiramisu is ready. I've just decorated it using chocolate icing and some orange zest and chocolate flakes. I'm pretty happy with the results. Obviously practice makes perfect, so do try it and refine your recipe. If you have any tips, or if you've done an addition or taken something out of the recipe, do let me know. Let me know how it went for you. Thank you very much for watching, and do check out my other recipes. Take care, enjoy.